What's up?
To open you up.
Fuck, I said we close.
The film starts in Utica, New York, with a truck driver named Clean, who works as a garbage collector. He lives in a rundown, crime-filled neighborhood. While on his job, he often finds discarded items that could still be useful and keeps them. At home, these objects show his quiet effort to make amends for his past. But his violent history still haunts him, reminding him that he can never completely escape it. Clean drives to a scrapyard and prepares canned food for his dog. Later, he attends a meeting where a veteran named Travis admits he struggles with drug addiction. Clean shares that his own past addiction was to violence. At home, he lives alone, still mourning his daughter and coping with a divorce. He cooks chicken for dinner and fixes an item he found while working his garbage route. The next morning, he visits his neighbor and invites a teenage girl, Diana, to eat with him. Diana thanks him for everything he has done but reminds him that he is not her father. Before leaving on the school bus, Diana gives Clean a handmade bracelet. After she leaves, he cleans up and goes to a thrift store, hoping to sell an item for some extra cash. While there, he sees a woman buying a gun, which worries him. Later, his thoughts are distracted when he buys paint from another woman. Clean also spends time helping the community by painting over graffiti on neighborhood walls. The next morning, he notices new tenants moving in and invites Diana again to share a meal with him. Clean watches the new tenants with suspicion, but at night he is haunted by visions of his late daughter, which wake him suddenly. Looking at her photo, he is filled with emotion. The next day, at Travis's barbershop, Travis tells him that sometimes it's better to let go or learn to live with the pain. Meanwhile, the story introduces Michael, a powerful drug lord. He comes to pick up his son, Mikey, from prison, but before he can reach him, Mikey is taken away by friends, leaving Michael frustrated and disappointed. Mikey's friends drive off with him, and although Michael is angry, he decides to let it go. Meanwhile, Clean finds out at work that staff cuts mean he has to cover more areas on his garbage route. While making his rounds, he passes a seafood restaurant owned by Michael and notices a group of thugs dealing drugs nearby. He decides to ignore them and keeps working. Later at home, memories of his past and the loss of his daughter continue to haunt him. The next day, Clean sees Diana walking to school because the bus no longer comes to their area. He offers her a ride, and during the trip, she asks why he is always alone. Clean admits he isn't good with women and prefers to focus on his work. Meanwhile, Mikey's friends drop him off late, which angers his father, Michael. Michael urges him to join the family business, but Mikey mocks him, saying he can't stand the smell. Soon after, Michael discovers that 5 bags of cocaine are missing and suspects the Chinese couriers stole them. At the same time, Clean repairs his late daughter's bicycle and gives it to Diana so she can get to school more easily. Diana's grandmother, Ethel, moves out and tells Clean he doesn't need to worry about Diana. Clean says he helps her to save himself like a lost soul. Ethel remembers when the streets were full of children playing, but now gangs have driven them indoors. She mentions seeing him paint over graffiti and says she believes he is a good man, but Clean denies it. Later, at Travis's house, Clean remembers buying a bicycle for his daughter, the joy of watching her ride it, and the precious memories that still stay with him. Michael spends time at church while his cocaine business runs in the background. The drugs are hidden in fish deliveries from Chinese couriers and divided into small amounts for neighborhood distribution. During one unloading, Michael calls Mikey over and brutally beats the Chinese crew leader with a hammer to send a message. He warns the others to check their shipments more carefully and orders Mikey to clean up the blood. That night, while on his garbage route, Clean notices blood and broken glass from the murdered couriers. Disturbed but silent, he keeps working. Right after, Michael appeared behind Clean. He apologized for the bad smell and offered him a cigarette, but Clean refused. Michael then tried to give him a tip, but Clean calmly declined and walked away. The next day, Clean's car broke down while driving through a rough neighborhood. As he checked under the hood, a group of thugs ran past, chasing someone into an alley. Hearing screams, he looked and saw them brutally beating a man. Clean froze, unsure what to do. When the gang noticed him and approached, another thug hit him hard from behind with a baseball bat. Clean woke up in the hospital, where he was being treated. He remembered a time when his daughter had caught him self-medicating. The doctor gave him a prescription, but Clean refused to take it. At work, he was placed on leave because of his condition. On his way home, he saw Diana outside at night, saying her grandmother had taken the keys. Clean invited her inside. While there, Diana noticed he wasn't well. She looked around and found a wooden box. When she opened it, Clean reacted suddenly, scaring her so much that she ran out in fear. At Michael's mansion, he tried to talk to Mikey, but Mikey was too focused on practicing rap. This made Michael angry, and they had a heated argument. Mikey pulled out a knife and threatened him, but couldn't bring himself to hurt his father. In the end, he chose to leave home. Later, while driving, Clean saw Diana with a group of thugs. He told her to go home since it was late, but she reminded him that he wasn't her father and couldn't control her. The thugs confronted Clean and told him to leave, but Diana eventually went with him to avoid trouble. At a meeting afterward, a man spoke about demons that haunt people, making them lose hope and believe they can't achieve anything. Outside, a man approached Clean and said his face looked familiar. Clean denied it, but the man insisted he knew him as the former partner of a well-known gangster. Ignoring him, Clean returned to scrubbing graffiti in an abandoned building. While looking inside, he felt someone might be there, so he checked. He then found a toolbox with a wrench inside. That night, as Clean drove around, he saw Diana's bike outside a thug's house. Inside, the gang was drinking and using drugs, and Diana was with them. When she tried to leave, one of the men blocked her, filmed her, and tried to harass her. Clean reached the door and saw Diana inside. He burst in and fought the thugs with a wrench, hitting them without mercy, including the one who tried to assault her. Mikey was among the group. Afterward, Clean carried Diana back to her grandmother, not knowing that the entire incident had been recorded on a phone. Meanwhile, Michael stayed with his injured son. The doctor warned that Mikey needed surgery, or he could lose his voice forever. Michael refused, seeing it as a lesson for him. Later, he watched the recording from the night before and discovered Clean's true identity. Frank, a corrupt cop, revealed that Clean was just a garbage collector living in the slums. Fearing that Clean might escape, Michael ordered Frank to harm Diana and Ethel to hurt him before capturing him. Meanwhile, Clean was driving out of town with both of them. Soon, a police officer signaled him to stop. When he pulled over, he realized the cops were working for Michael. Clean quickly sped off, trying to escape. He left the main road, hoping to hide and switch cars. They stopped at a spot with a bowling alley and a diner. While Diana took Ethel to the restroom, Clean searched the parking lot for a car to steal. Meanwhile, some of Michael's men spotted his vehicle. Once they confirmed it was his, they headed toward the diner. As the henchmen entered, Diana and Ethel were about to step outside, so they quickly ran back inside. While waiting, Clean saw one of the thugs, overpowered him, and took his axe. The rest of the gang kept chasing, forcing Diana and Ethel to run to the back of the building to hide. Their hiding spot wasn't safe, and the henchmen nearly found them. Just then, Clean appeared and confronted the attackers. The fight was intense, but he managed to overpower them one by one. After defeating them all, he returned to Diana and Ethel and urged them to escape. We flash back to a night when Clean was still working as a hitman. When he got home, he discovered his drug syringe was missing and realized his daughter had used it. Tragically, she died, leaving him overwhelmed with guilt and grief. From that moment, his life was never the same. At a motel, Ethel blamed Clean for keeping her from going home, but he promised to make things right. Later, Clean returned to the neighborhood, met Travis, and warned him about Michael's attacks. He then collected money from his house and went to a pawn shop to buy weapons. A friend who worked there gave him one of the best guns for his needs. After that, Clean gathered more supplies and studied blueprints. Meanwhile, Frank got a call and learned that Clean was actually the feared assassin once known as the Grim Reaper. Clean called Michael and warned him that he knew where he lived and was coming. He then used his skills to make a silencer for his pump-action shotgun. To remind himself of his violent past, he carved a tattoo on his back. Finally, he put on body armor, armed himself with several weapons, and packed everything into his car. Michael ordered his men to tighten security. Meanwhile, Clean returned to his garbage collection job. Parking outside Michael's house, he rigged the fuse box with a trap and quietly took down all the guards before returning to his truck. While Michael and his crew were drinking and celebrating, Clean drove his truck straight into the house. The trap went off, cutting the power. Michael's men fired at the truck, but Clean slipped out and began a fierce gunfight with them. Soon after, Frank confronted him, and the two fought in a brutal showdown. Clean fired a flare gun at Michael and chased after him. As Michael tried to hide, he narrowly avoided being hit and managed to fire back. Clean then closed in, starting a violent and relentless hand-to-hand fight. Michael knocked Clean to the ground. At that moment, Clean saw a vision of his daughter. Gaining strength from it, he fought back and overpowered Michael. Just as he was about to finish him, Mikey appeared and shot Clean, then turned the gun on his father. Mikey kept firing until the gun was empty, and when he tried to shoot Clean again, he realized there were no bullets left. After the battle, Diana's neighborhood was finally safe from crime. Children began playing outside again. One day, while riding her bike, Diana saw a garbage truck approaching and smiled. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe for more summaries. See you next time, and have a great day.